So this is the Cycle7 by TKD, and it's neat for a couple reasons. It's sub $140, it's a seamless and screwless case design, it's dual gasket mounting, a dual-esque PCB style, and a new style of coating. So let's check it out. And while I'm unboxing the rest of the board, who is TKD or Trace Kits Design? They're a group founded by Vertex and Equalz roughly about a half year ago, focusing on creating a richer and novel experience based on their respective journeys across the keyboard hobby. And collectively, this is their first offering, an FRL TKL that on paper strikes all the check marks for being fundamentally a great board. Aesthetically, the Cycle is quite referenced as the side profile is the basic square on wedge shape we've seen before. There's this nice PVD badge and RGB light under the nav cluster, and this huge stainless steel weight that can be either polished, sandblasted, or PVD coated. Internally, we have the two brass covers that are engraved with the board's name and TKD logo. The unit I have is the Rock colorway with the blue PVD weight, and I have to say it just looks killer. The TKD Anno here is a bit rougher than traditional ones, feels very similar to the Anno on my Vita Matrix if that gives you any sort of idea. And you've probably seen from the beginning, the PCB does have two flex cuts. But one thing I've never seen before are these PCB plugs, which fit neatly within the cutouts and are supposed to provide a better sound profile than tape modding. They're made out of rubber, and they fit super snug in the cutouts that they're held in by the ends, so I doubt they'll be falling out unless you really bend the PCB. So I'm going to get this board built up with the bigger gasket tabs, alloy plate, Vertex V1s, and without the PCB plugs, and we'll take it from there. Build-wise, this board is dumb easy and fast to build. Like, here's a real time of me taking this board apart. There's no screws needed, since this board uses the ball and latch design we've seen before, like on the Corsa. And one thing I also noticed is that there are these rubber domes on the bottom case that help to essentially force break the board to reduce case ping and hollowness. With no foam and without the PCB plugs, there's quite a bit of flex on the build that makes even the alloy plate feel quite comfortable to type on. And even with the PCB plugs, there's still a good amount of flex, and if that's still not enough, you can always swap in the gasket beans too. If you're concerned about the sound with the smaller beans, I personally didn't hear a noticeable difference between the bigger or smaller tabs. I will say one thing I do have a gripe with this board is that the JST is just a bit short for my taste, but then again, could be a skill issue. Sound-wise, the Cycle has a decently strong acoustic profile, albeit it is a little quiet for my taste, and I'll play some examples of a couple sound tests. Personally, I would run more fuller sounding or louder switches without any foam, maybe something like a long pole or something that's super clacky. The Cycle leans a bit more to the deeper end of the sound spectrum, and throwing in the PCB plugs does help to lift the overall acoustics of the board slightly. And that doesn't mean that the board necessarily sounds bad with foam, it actually sounds pretty decent. Reason being, I'm in the boat that the board should sound good on its own without having to rely on foam, and that foam can be used as more of like a modifier as opposed to a crutch, for instance. The final build I did with the Husky BCPs with all the foam makes the Cycle very deep without sounding overly foamy, if that's the way to describe it. All in all, for a board that costs sub $140 before shipping and taxes, I personally think this is a really strong offering, which comes as no surprise considering the track record that Vertex has designed before and in collaboration with another heavy hitter in the industry. Its inoffensive aesthetics, ease of use, strong acoustics and feel make it a pretty easy recommendation for those looking to dabble in the FRL TKL layout without having to break the bank. The group buy for this board will start sometime mid-July, and if you want to learn more, you can check the links in the description. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Take care and have a good one. Bye.